Welcome to my daily review. You're looking at a chart, a daily chart of the Nasdaq. I have drawn a trend line here. You can see the index has bumped up against it a couple times recently, and today it pulled down close to its 10 EMA, and it closed 0.7% above the 10 EMA. So very healthy market, higher highs, higher lows. It looks really strong. It was down on weakness today, and then after hours, we saw earnings from AMD, and we have Apple and Amazon coming up later in the week. So that's going to have an impact on the Nasdaq. When the tape is a little weak like this, I look for strength, stocks that are showing me strength, that don't want to go down, even though the index is going down. And this is SMCI, and you can see that it traded down to its 10 EMA and bounced slightly. Well, it made a new high today of 338 something, 337.88. Yeah, they report earnings on August 8th, next week, so more will be revealed from AMCI. Meta is another one that was showing strength today as the Nasdaq kind of slumped slightly. This one didn't even make it down to its 10 EMA, but was up 1.2%. So a nice day. Adobe was upgraded yesterday, and this one was up again today. So that's what I look for. The large liquid stocks that are showing strength. Now, Apple, I mentioned Apple. They're going to report earnings, and so is flat on the session. More on Apple. AMD and Intel both stated that the PC market, they're seeing the strengthening in that market. And it stands to reason that people got personal computers in 2020 during the lockdown, and now it's roughly going into about a 4-year cycle where people are starting to, get newer editions. And that, Apple's been known to sell a few computers. So I'm really looking forward to their conference call and their release on Thursday, because it's all about the iPhone for Apple. But if their personal computer starts shaping up, that will provide a boost for Apple, as long as, with everything else they have, their earbuds, their watches, even their virtual reality glasses. See how what they have planned for that. But Apple is definitely a beast, and I want to hear from them Thursday. Amazon, they report Thursday as well, after the bell on August 3rd. So we're just going to have to wait to hear from those companies. A couple other stocks showing strength today. I got to go to the cybersecurity stocks. This is CrowdStrike. It's been on our watch list, and you can see why. Here's a nice consolidation, pulled back to its 50 in a lighter volume. Now, the last 3 sessions, it was moved higher. So, quite a few of you at MC Stock Chart said you're in this one and enjoying the ride. Hope you enjoy the ride, as Jerry Garcia is saying. The list still looks good to me. Palo Alto Networks. Now, to me, that was the move here from the 176, 180 area up to 258, but it's a monster stock, and you don't know how high this thing can go, especially if the market's rallying. And definitely a leader in this space, showing strength. In a weak tape, the Nasdaq was down like we showed, and this one was up 1.2%. So you got to acknowledge the tape. What is the stock telling you here? This stock is telling me that, hey, even though the index is down, Fortinet, didn't want to go down today. It got supported to 21. So there's a lot of stocks here that are showing strength and not going down with the index. I'm going to go to the semiconductors, though, because that was a real mixed bag today. RMBS, now, they didn't have a great earnings report, and so I guess this 12% sell-off is warranted. That's pretty harsh. Sorry to the longs there. Allegro Microsystems, though, they beat on earnings and revenue and raised forward guidance. I'm not really sure what the issue was there, if it was margins or I really don't know. I'm gonna have to look more into this, but it's had a nice run, as you can see. In this year it's up nearly a double. So the profit taking, there's been just some really wonky action around earnings reports. It's really treacherous this quarter, and I'd have to say we've seen more sell-offs than gaps higher this quarter so far. I'm going to cover the gaps on the weekends, but I'm not seeing a lot of them this week. NVDA, now they They might be up with the AMD report. The AMD report was pretty strong, and the conference call is going on now, so we'll just have to see what goes on there. This thing is formed an ascending base here with these three higher highs and higher lows, and it's been about 10 weeks here, and about 10% peak to trough, from for each pullback. One of them was only like 9%, but it is the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. I did mention AMD, and they're up 4.5% after hours, and the conference call is just starting. So we'll just have to wait and see tomorrow. It's a strong report, and you can see that it's been consolidating. A little caution ahead of the print. A lot of the semis have been running, and this has been going sideways. AMD is a funny trading stock, and it marches to the beat of its own drum. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some investors start piling into this one now that it's been kind of lagging just lately. ACLS is another one that reports earnings tomorrow. They made a new high today and then pulled back with a general market weakness. Real interested to see what they have to say. I can see it's up after hours. AMD is going to drive the semiconductors tomorrow, I do believe. AEHR, which should also drive the Nasdaq and the QQQs. We're just going to have to wait and see, though. Don't want to get too optimistic. AEHR just bounced off its 10 today. Talk about strength in a weak tape. Congrats to the longs there. That stock is really doing well. And MRVL is another one that's on our watch list. You can see why this consolidation here was up 1.23% today. Earnings not for a couple of weeks. And yeah, AMD could be providing some pen action for that sector tomorrow. Well, all is not rosy in cruise land, as Norwegian reported and said that demand was softening going forward, and investors did not like that. It pulled back to its 50 simple moving average and closed towards the mid-range of its day, 60%, so the upper half of its daily range. But there was pin action from that. Carnival sold off back to the 21 and then bounced. Looks like it closed in the up in the upper half of its range, and then Royal Caribbean group pulled back to the 10, so that one's stronger than the others, only 1.5%. But okay, those are the sad times. Let's go to more happy times. All right, more strength in weak tape. Builder, see, they're reporting earnings tomorrow before the bell, so last chance to get in before they report. It's 1:47 after hours. Like I say, earnings is a coin flip, and you're taking on a lot of risk holding a lot of stock into an earnings report. It can really fall apart quickly. But Builder has been a strong stock since that ascending base, and we're just gonna have to wait to hear from them tomorrow. DHI, another stronger stock in the weak tape, just trading there at its 10 EMA. And TriPoint is another one that traded below its 50. Now it's rallying above, and some people would think that would be an area of interest, especially if it wants to continue higher. Just wanted to point that out. Up 0.5% today as the Nasdaq pulled back. A couple of retail names. I have LULU on our watch list. This thing's just trading flat, sideways, kind of tight. Moving averages here. The 10 and the 21 are converging there around the 379 area. So LULU looks pretty good to me. They don't report till the end of the month. Another one that's really bugging me the way it's trading. I do not like stocks that gap up and then trade sideways, and you got to hold them into earnings, which we know is a coin flip. It's traded down to its 50, and it's sticking to that 50 like flypaper. And I don't think it's going to do anything until the August 10th earnings catalyst. You can see there's not a lot of sellers and not a lot of buyers. It's not going anywhere, and it just drives me crazy that it only goes up when it gets a new data point. Trades sideways, you got to wait 3 months for a new data point, and so that's pretty tough to hold there. And I'm holding it, so who am I to talk? ELF just reported a stellar quarter. This is a monster stock. I've talked about this thing ad nauseum almost every day. It hasn't based here since last summer, and it's just been a monster, just pulling back to its 50 occasionally. One of the easiest holds you're ever going to find. Now, after hours, they reported just crushed earnings, and the CEO said that they could have raised guidance even further, but they're going to spend some more money on marketing, and they're just taking market share. They have mind share of the I don't want to say the millennials. Let's just say, the younger generation, maybe 16 to 35. How about that? They're just taking share. They talked about their target, their partnerships. Just this thing's hitting on all cylinders. I can't say enough about this stock. It's Estee Lauder was a real powerhouse for many, many, many years, and you can make, I shouldn't say that, I'll just say that personal cosmetic stocks have a history of being very profitable for their shareholders. I'm going to leave it at that. And this one is just hitting on all cylinders. I don't know what more to say. I mean, congratulations to the longs. You're holding a real winner right there. And I'm going to end on that because, no, actually, I'm going to honor Steve Jobs and say one more thing. I have a rule, and it's a guardrail that, kind of keeps me protected from, destroying myself, that I usually sell when the stock slices its 50. Okay, so Arista Networks, it was on our leading stock list, and I pulled it last week because it sliced its 50. And this rule has served me well over the years. I mean, I sold Roku at I don't know, with 4 something when it sliced. A lot of the software names I sold because they sliced their 50. Now I've broken that rule with SMCI and Builder. I bought and it sliced the 50 and I held on because this is an art, not a science. So it's not an absolute rule, but it has protected me over time. But when you sell, you miss out on moves like this. But this is an earnings move. This is Arista Network, a gap higher. 20% on 361% above average daily volume. So you could just say that is just a powerful move. And congrats to the longs there. I will monitor this one as a power earnings gap. But like I said, if you have that rule and you use that rule, then you miss out on earnings gaps like that. However, there's a flip side to this story as TG Therapeutics sliced its 50 back here. And if you sold it, then you missed out on this little downtrend. And then today it gapped lower nearly 50%. That is quite a haircut. Wow. And so TG Therapeutics, I believe their sales estimates was 17.9 million and they had 16.1. So they were short about 1.8 million and they lost about 1.5 billion in market cap. And that's just how the market works, but you have to avoid stuff like that. And so that's where that guardrail, having that rule of selling at the 50, I don't have many sell rules on the downside. Losing 5% and then slicing the 50 and also, have some aggressive sell rules to the upside, but this is the downside rule. Protect your downside. It's a guardrail to, protect your capital and keep you in the game. And obviously if the market's rallying, your stock shouldn't be looking like that. Every stock you hold should be above its 21. Anyway, that's my bit for today. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to Apple and Amazon on Thursday. Hopefully AMD will carry the day tomorrow, and we never give up.